This video is about the prologue of Raji and not the full game itself. This review does not include any spoilers of the story. Talking about the full game, it will be out on Steam on the 15th of October for PC. It is already available on the Switch, but who likes to play on 30 FPS anyways? Getting into the game, it is a milestone for the Indian game development community. It is one of the most awaited indie games of this year, and it drew attention to itself when the devs couldn't secure funding for it and started the Kickstarter. Even though the Kickstarter did fall short of the target it required, it did manage to draw a fair amount of attention to itself. Something that stands out to me about the game is the artwork in it. It has been one of the things that I was anticipating about the game ever since I saw the first video of it. Now, it is a very visually pleasing game, and it has a lot of murals and paintings that are used to tell stories throughout the game. The game includes a lot of Hindu mythological stories, as the story does revolve around Hindu mythology. And one of the founders of Nodding Heads Games, the developers behind Raji, is Shruti Ghosh, and she's known for specializing in hand painting, and that is evident in the artwork throughout the game. Something else that I like a lot about Raji is the camera work. The camera always feels right. Be it the zoom or the pan or the angle it's looking at, the effort that has gone into the camera is very evident. There are a lot of things in Raji that justifies the time it took to make the game. For example, there are a lot of little things in the game that stops it from looking bland, and that is on the level design. The levels connect almost seamlessly. Everything from the ambient noises to the ambient particles just add a whole other depth to the game. Everything from the largest details like the statues and the pillars to fire effects and to small details like the butterflies flying about and the roots of the trees that snake on the ground add something to the game that draws you to it. The combat feels smooth and makes you feel powerful. The effects while attacking and taking damage are beautifully done. Something that I did notice about the combat, in the prologue at least, is the health regeneration during combat. Every demon you kill will top your health. While this is not a bad thing per se, I for one feel that it takes a lot of the challenge away from the fights. Don't get me wrong, this isn't the easiest game in the world, but it definitely doesn't feel like a challenging one. The characters are voiced very well. The narration is done to make it feel like a conversation between Lord Vishnu and Goddess Durga, with the conversation between the two driving the story at times. The cutscenes are depictions of the story in a puppet theatre style artwork, which is simple but still relevant to the game. If there is anything that I have to say negative about the game, it is the fact that it is not the most optimized game. The minimum specs required to run it being an i5 and a GTX 760, meaning it isn't the most accessible game, but if you can run it, it is a beautiful experience. I will recommend playing this on a controller for the most comfortable experience. The game doesn't have a lot of controls, and so it isn't hard to get used to the controls. Overall, it is something that I would recommend everyone to try. The prologue is free on Steam after all.